In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, Algria. Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. Now, if you're looking at the screen and thinking to yourself, hold on a minute, he looks and he sounds like he's just got up. You're absolutely right. This is the first time, I think. I don't know. I don't think this has happened before. When I woke up this morning, the just single, the duvet. We're down to the duvet cover. No duvet, of course, in this heat. And although here on the Silver Coast, it's only 22 degrees currently this morning as I speak, through rather rusty sounding tones. And the fan's been on all night, and I've been drinking again, haven't I? I started drinking again last week. Stayed up late last night after the webinar and the Premium Plus session, the Premium Plus Lounge last night at 9. Great evening hanging out. With all the lovely people who want to be here in Portugal or who are here in Portugal. Had a nice glass of beer after the show, a few, some ham and some cheese, hanging out, talking to Mrs. M, went to bed and woke up and it was, I think, at 8:15. So didn't oversleep, actually here nearly on time, but most irregular. Poor old Jimmy and Peggy are still waiting to go out. So we'll have to give them a special walk after the show and wish you a very special good morning and hola bon dia alegria. Somewhat sleepy this morning. Let's see how this goes, shall we? Good job we've got the coach coming in at 9 along with Phil, the two esteemed gentlemen who are the experts of mind and body fitness. So I imagine we've got, I was going to say T-Duck. We have got T-Duck, but the person I was thinking of in that moment was James, Banana Slug James. So if you're thinking of emotional and spiritual fitness as well, we've got holistic fitness this morning for you on this Feel Good Friday, concluding another amazing week here on the show. Wonderful community in somewhat challenging times. Here in Portugal, of course, with the fires going on. So I'll see if I can get a concise report from somewhere. I think possibly, and this is what I was sharing last night on one of our calls about fire preparedness. I think if we go to ProCiv, that would be a good place to go, which will give us the roundup of the incidents that are going on in Portugal this morning. And of course, let's take a look at the weather before Ian and Phil join us. They've been traveling all over Europe. That's one thing we can talk about with them this morning, of course, is their love of Portugal, but how it is that they travel across Europe to be here. And I know that Ian's been on tour and been to France recently. If you're a bit of a Francophile as well as a Lusophile, you might like to know where he's been in France and Italy just recently. Are you beginning to think that maybe some of the people here are operatives of the secret services? Have you noticed that Ian has just got back from Italy? And their prime minister has, I don't know if he's actually gone now. He tried to resign and the president said, oh, no, you need to finish your work or whatever it is they say, president say to prime ministers. But Ian's just back from Italy and they have lost their prime minister. And then we've got Phil over in the UK. They've also lost their prime minister. What's going on with these people? Is this just a cover story for some, under the behind the scenes shenanigans going on? Are we talking about international men of mystery who are working in such a way? Let's quiz them, shall we? What question would you ask Ian or Phil to flush out their secret service activities behind the scenes? Let's find out if they've got an alibi for what they've been up to in this last couple of weeks now that the UK and Italy are without prime ministers. And that's exactly where Phil and Ian have been. I'm a little bit suspicious this morning. Marcos Tuga, where's your comment gone? Oh, there it is. Hello, Carl, says Marcos Tuga. I've never felt sweaty in these 2 weeks. What does that mean? Why, you still over in UK? Tell us more, Marcos. What's behind your comment there? Great to see you here. Banana Slug James is in. Jean as well. Helen, hello, Helen. Wow. Are you still in Thailand? Yes, you are. Still dreaming of Portugal. Sending love from Koh Samui Island. I bet it's lovely over there. Can we have a photo, Helen, of Koh Samui this morning? That'll be lovely. 351 913 590 303. We haven't had any pics in from any irregulars. That's not fair to call you an irregular, but you know what I mean. There, don't you? I think, Helen, it was so lovely to have you tuned in this last couple of years, and with some intensity, I think, during the height of the COVID thing. And it's great to see you back again. I think I should have a ticker tape with that number on. So it's Feelgood Friday with let's have with Ian and Phil this morning. Coach Turner is in. So let me. I am a little bit behind, just like the man who sat on the bacon slicer. Just in case you haven't heard that one before, he sat on the bacon slicer, at work, and he got behind. He got behind with his work. So Ian messed up a little bit, didn't I? But that's part of a dad joke. Sometimes is messing it up and starting to laugh at your own joke. I think that's a part of a dad joke, isn't it? It's laughing at it yourself, even if everyone else is groaning. So it's Feel Good Friday with Ian and Phil at 9 a.m. Not sure even where they are. So I'll put from ? And plus you and your comments, anything you would like to address, anything we've missed this week. Bring it up, just like a cat coming home from a night on the toss. Bring it up on the doorstep and let us know how you're doing and what you might like to talk about on this Feel Good Friday. So there you go. Ian and Phil at 9, from 9, plus your comments and questions and picks via 351 913 590 303. It's not too bad, actually, getting up at 8:15. Might try it again tomorrow. Oh, no, we're not on tomorrow, are we? There you go. It's not so good getting up at 8:15 because I forget that it's actually Friday and the weekend. So we'll let God Squad Ian Turner deliver his own tip of the day when he arrives later on. T-Duck is in Bon Dialgria. Gumpers and a deep thought of the day. Liking this, and I'm going to cough before this, but not on you. So stand by. I'll put a little bit of sound effect on. Right, that's the clearing the throat jingle. That works very nicely, doesn't it? So deep thought of the day, you will either step forward into growth or you will step back into safety. Yeah, nothing stays the same or still in this existence, does it? It is a deep thought of the day. Thank you, T-Duck, for your deep thoughts of the day. That feature has fitted in very nicely. More to come of that, I hope. According to Abraham Maslow, he of the Maslow's hierarchy, which when he was alive and creating the hierarchy, didn't have internet connection, did he? Which should actually be at the top now of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs for the human being. You will either step forward into growth or you will step back into safety. Yes, I guess you can't really do both, can you? Well, I'll leave that hanging there. That was a comment last night on our second meetup of the evening in the Premium Plus Lounge. Jerry, DG, dear Jerry said, yes, and last week we tried nun's breasts. And the call wasn't long enough to find out how it went. So we just had to leave nun's breasts literally hanging there. Has anyone else tried nun's breasts since they've made a new life here in Portugal? True story. And aos papéis, walking to the papers, struggling with something or being disoriented. Okay. Do you say, T-Duck, you say disoriented. I think sometimes the Brits say disorientated, don't they? Which is correct. Disoriented or disorientated. Or can you say both? But not at the same time. Walking to the papers and andar aos papéis. What does that mean? Walking to the papers as in what? Popping to the newsagent, maybe? I wonder. And you have a little think while you're on. I'm just popping out to get a paper. Sometimes that's the last you hear from people, isn't it? I'm just getting a pint of milk or a paper. You never see them again. Ar de caneiro mal morto. The air of badly dead lamb. Ooh. When someone looks annoyed, in a bad mood, you have the air of a decomposing lamb by the sound of it. That kind of does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? Or you could just say, Can anyone smell decomposing lamb here? I think someone's got a cob on. Someone's got a bit of a moody going on here. Yeah, I wonder. I'm interested in human moods. As a Cancerian, it does happen to me from time to time. I'm getting better at dealing with it as I've got older. Are you? Yes, you. Are you getting better with mood management? Do you have as many moods as you used to do back in the day? Is it getting worse or getting better, or are you just in older age with the perspective of the years that the years bring? Are you thinking to yourself, life's too short for this caper and this nonsense? I am a cheerful soul, and I did feel a little bit of a moody coming upon me, but life's too short. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to notice, act, and choose. Notice, choose, and act is what I meant to say. James, is that right? Encher chorizos, filling chorizos, not doing anything productive or talking a lot without really saying anything. So there you are, stuffing sausages, and just getting on with the work. Important work, stuffing the chorizos, of course, but not doing anything of great importance. Okay, very interesting. Happy Phil limbering up behind the scenes. Out, Phil. Dad jokes then. Perfect timing, Phil. Phil might have a dad joke or two. I suspect that he has subjected his children to over the years. So let's give the warning, the appropriate warning.
Warning. Warning.
That's not the Phil Cooklin arrival warning. We'll play that again. We'll have that later. But this is the dad joke warning. Where have they gone? Here they are. Dad jokes from T-Duck this morning. Present and correct. While visiting a monastery, I walked past the kitchen. I'm groaning already. I could see the punchline. Whilst visiting a monastery, I walked past the kitchen and saw a man frying chips. It's American version, isn't it? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's the British version of this dad joke. Thank you. While visiting a monastery, I walked past the kitchen and saw a man frying chips. Are you the fryer? I asked. No, I'm the chipmunk. Hey, I searched for a lighter on Amazon, but the results were 6,000 matches. That's a good one. That's a very modern dad joke, isn't it? That could not be a granddad joke. A joke becomes a dad joke when it becomes apparent, or when it's full grown. That's very sophisticated, perhaps even too sophisticated to be a dad joke. Superb. Thank you very much for those this morning. Deagle continuing his break in the north of Northern Ireland here. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers went to a whiskey with an E or without an E. It's with an E, of course, if you're in Ireland, and whiskey without the E if you're in Scotland. Tasting one was poor. Poor whiskey. Is there such a thing? One was nice, one lovely, all the same company, just different nay releases. Is that what they call it? McConnell's, Belfast Irish whiskey. So shout out to all the crew at McConnell's this morning, producing whiskey there in Northern Ireland. Wow. Okay. Yeah, do feel free to send it this way if you want us to try it live on air, McConnell's. So Deagle, you're having a great time, aren't you? Fresh mackerel out to sea, whiskey tasting, well-deserved break for you. Not in Portugal for a change. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz sexta a todos. The only day with sex in it is Feliz sexta, everybody. Como está? Another day to be grateful to be alive. Thank you for that reminder. Slug on a redwood. And he'll be here on Monday morning, of course, with his thoughts from the redwoods. Will Rogers' quote of the day: the difference between death and taxes is death doesn't get worse every time Congress meets. Thank you very much for that, Banana Slug, and your continued service in this regard. Thank you. We could talk completely in memos and old-fashioned letters, couldn't we? And with my grateful thanks to you, my friend, for your continued service in this regard. Yours sincerely, Mr. Munson in Portugal. Oh, if we spoke like that, if we spoke like Dickensians to each other, that'd be amazing, just for a day. Bon dia, Carl. Another esteemed colleague who speaks to me from that beautiful part of Portugal. It's St. Catherine. Bon dia, Carl, y amigos from Kate. How you doing, Kate? How's Foz this morning? A bit foggy over there, possibly? Fog de Aurelio. Then, Minister of Home Affairs, carrying on then in Northern Ireland. The Minister of Home Affairs, that's Mrs. McKinnon, beat 3 guys in pool. Look at that 8-ball emoji. So she's a bit of a hustler, possibly. They're thinking, oh, look at these two. They're high on whiskey. We'll beat them. Well, I have 50p on this. And then the Minister of Home Affairs, Mrs. McKillen's, thrashed 3 blokes in a pool in a bar. Kathy is a shark at pool. You see, there you go. I think in 35 years going out with her, I've won 10 to 15 games maximum. Bar laughing at the men getting beat by a lady. Yes, take that, fellas. Oh, I'm in the bad books as well. We came home at 1:20 in the wee hours of the morning. That's a nice turn of phrase, isn't it? I said, leave the washing out. Sure, it's nice. Sure, it's a nice night. It rained around 4 a.m. The minister is re-washing the washing. Oh dear. Yes, it's easy to say such things, isn't it, without having to worry about the consequences. Ah, it'll be fine. Good morning, people, and happy birthday to the Man Cave Reloaded. Look at that. A year of the new Man Cave Reloaded. A big shout out to Andrew for the effort he's put in over the past year, and hi to all the Man Cave members. Well, if you think effort is just booking a live stream and then getting drunk with other people, then I suppose, that's effort of a kind. But yes, in all seriousness, thank you, Lee, for that. Andy, good job. Thank you for picking that up. The Man Cave would have just perished on the vine, and there you were picking it up and running it successfully for its first year now in its second incarnation. And so, I think a few of us, some few of the oldies popping in tonight to celebrate that birthday. And of course, celebrate the fact that Andy, Lord Gilchrist, is now in Portugal. How's your trip been? Lord Gilchrist. We saw a couple of photos, didn't we, of him coming across and around the Bay of Biscay, landing in Spain and driving down in his Land Rover. Hola Gumpas from Tony Baldylocks, and a great the countdown, another countdown. Look, 25, 24, 23. Countdown for Tony Baldylocks to be here in Portugal. Stephen Wells, when are you coming to Portugal? Born dear to you. And it's a day 50, 50 days of shades. He's been taking selfies with his shades on for 50 days now. And today is the climax of that experiment, which should be a nice, interesting climax photo from Stephen. Hola, bon dia todos. Faixa dia. This changes every day. It's a gaisha dia today. Denise Williams, I've just got to be free. Free on a Feelgood Friday. Only just managed to get that out. So yes, beautiful tune, laid back vibes from Denise Williams, and got to be free there. Sarah Stubel Sarah, a very foggy bon dia from Stubel this morning. I guess that might be a mixture of smoke in the air, ash in the air from the Palmela fire. Pretty serious one over that way. And I'm going to have a quick look at the headlines in just a moment to make sure we know what's going on. Baddy, bon dia Gumpers, wishing for a great weekend for all of us. Absolutely, Baddy. Here we are in San Martino de Porto, fellow residents of SMDP. Very busy at the moment, isn't it? The switch got flicked. The tourism switch got flicked, and it's a very different place to be. I fancy having a little cycle, a recumbent cycle with the kids. They've got those sort of family go-karts that you can pedal around the town. My lad had a look at those and thought, well, you wanted to go. So that it might be the weekend we do that. What could possibly go wrong there? Bon dia from Maria Santos. Good morning, Maria. Nice to have you here. Nubianet, Aradiel. So morning, Nubianet and Aradiel, and Andy of the Porky Feet. Bon dia from a cool Bairada. One of the things about oversleeping and getting up at 8:15 is I'm a little dry. I'm a little parched here, so I'm going to have a little sip of water. Bon dia, bon fin de semana from Stockholm. Anna, where you been? Stockholm it would appear. 14 degrees here today, and it's snowing in the north of Sweden. My goodness, what a contrast. Lower temperatures, extremely high humidity, virtually no wind, and even a little drizzle here on the coast. I'm hoping for the same inland today to possibly calm the fires. Those of you with very good speakers would have heard me drinking water there. That helped. Honestly, Carl, didn't notice. So I always look like a bag of spuds, do I, every morning? Thank you, Stephen, for that. 28 degrees here in Braganza already. Poor visibility I've got as my weather report here this morning. So let's have a look at that weather, shall we? And see what's going on around the country, anticipate what the highs in terms of temperatures might be. Which buttons do I press for that? I know. Let's do this one. Let's see what happens when we press this one. Okay. The technology perhaps is this. I don't even know if this is the right screen I'm sharing now. This should be the Expats Portugal. It's not, I don't think it is. It's the Expats Portugal homepage. Where's the weather gone? Oh yes, here it is. I found it now. I'm typing in "Hola bon dia" because that's what it says when you're on arrival. So yes, bear with. Just it's a yogi moment. Bear with, and I'll bring you the weather now rather than the Expats Portugal homepage. Excellent as that is, that's not what I'm looking for at the moment. So come on, computer, keep up, won't you? Yeah, here we go. We've got it now. Let's have a scroll through the weather and see what's happening. here in Portugal. See what's in prospect for the weather today. Okay, let's go first to the capital. Are you seeing that yet on your screen? Yeah, you are. You're just seeing the weather in Portugal. That's all I'm seeing as well. This weather page is overslept too as well. There we go. We're here now. So 21, a comfortable 21 in Lisbon at the moment. That's 70 in Fahrenheit, but it will rise to 86 Fahrenheit. What did you call them? Freedom tokens. I don't know a lot about Fahrenheit, but somebody called them freedom something or others. 21 degrees, 30 the high in centigrade, 86 in Fahrenheit in the capital. Currently 23, rising to 25, and a sunny day in Porto, although actually cloudy for the weekend. Coimbra, this is where it's hot in central Portugal. 18 was the low, started off at 18, currently 23 with a few clouds, and will rise to 39 degrees. We'll get some how to cope with warm weather strategies from Phil, who's probably experienced, among the three of us on the screen this morning, he'll have experienced the most extreme temperatures, I suspect, with life in Portugal. Coimbra then, high of 39, and Faro, rising only to 27, but that's still very, very comfortable. I'll put it like that, low of 24, high of 27. And let's have a look around the rest of the country. Beja, look, rising to 38 later on. Aveiro, 26. Braga, 33, the predicted high there. Castelo Branco, 42 today, currently 30. Wow. Évora, currently 29, rising to 40 as well. Leiria, 33. Santarém has been warm, 39 the high for Santarém, and currently 27 with a clear sky. Viseu, 26, currently rising to 40. So another hot day in Portugal. Yeah, Bragança, look at that, high of 39 predicted. Guarda, 37. 41 in Porto Alegre. Setúbal, a 31 degree high. Viana do Castelo, nice and cool at 25. 41 in Villarreal. And over in the Azores, 21, comfortable in the Azores, and Madeira, 17. Cool in Paradise in Madeira. The high predicted today. So there's your weather. I'm going to look at ProCiv, the civil protection website, and let me just zoom in and have another cough. Okay, let's see what's going on then in Portugal. There are alerts in north and the south. Currently, events 20. What am I talking about? 10 times that. 275 total events of civil protection notification here. There are 3,326 personnel involved, using 1,066 vehicles, and with 9 aircraft in the sky as we speak. The ongoing situation, of course. This is a good site to be looking at, prociv.pt. Let me bring that onto the screen for you, so you can see what I'm looking at as well. Quite incredible resources we have. I would wish we didn't need them. But we've got them in place. Fogos.pt and this one as well. The IPMA website, the meteorological website, is extraordinary too. So those three should give you all the information you need to stay informed about what's going on. But look at this. That's ProCiv. So as I say, really good resources. Make a note of these, bookmark them, so you can be alert, prepared, and stay safe as a result. But look at that, 275 incidents going on, 9 aircraft, and over 3,000 personnel still working. And they have been working very hard, of course. They're stretched, they're exhausted. Take them some water, take them some milk, towels, so that towels can be soaked and they can be draped around people's necks. I think that's how it works. So look after the bombeiros in your town. And when all this has calmed down, keep the funds coming in and support coming in of the bombeiros. So there you go. Prociv.pt is what I'm looking at there. Okay, we'll carry on with your comments. A few minutes to go, and we will have Ian and Phil with us. Great meetup in Portimao yesterday. Fab to meet Nuno and Elena, the hardest working man in insurance and any kind of business, really. Nuno Mendes. She was on the screen yesterday. He was at the Portimao meetup. He's incredible, that man. And we have well, here's the oh no, it's not. That doesn't want to show itself. Anyway, I've got the image, a photograph of the happy gathering. Victoria had already gone home, but there we go. Mike is a giant, it turns out. I've only ever seen Mike sat down on a Zoom call. He looks like he's about 8 feet tall in that picture. Nuno and Elena in the foreground there. And Paul Richards from Yorkshire is there as well, with a sighting of him in Portimao yesterday. So look, smiles all round. and I suspect a few G&Ts or a bit of Portuguese wine consumed there. Thank you, Jack Polly, for that. And it's going to be the third Thursday of next month because she is playing the grandchildren card. Of course, grandkids are going to throw everybody's plans when they come to Portugal. So third Thursday of August. What did you tell me there? I think I've got an actual date. If you want to go to the Portimao meetup and have fun like they did yesterday, you will be going. Let me see the date that Jack gave me there. Morning, Carl. Next Portimao meetup will be Thursday the 18th. I'm moving it out a week. So there you go. 13th. Sorry, what am I talking about? 18th. Thursday the 18th. Yes, it does help if I get up at 7:30 and not 8:15. That's official now, clearly. So thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody, for turning up in Portimao yesterday. Prime Ministers getting lost. Yes, I don't know if you heard this, Phil and Ian, but it has been noted that you have both been in England and in Italy, and those countries have lost their prime ministers. We are beginning to suspect you are Secret Service operatives pretending to be on holiday or moving around Europe. And now look, where are you going next? We're keeping an eye on you, gentlemen. So, Ian Turner, great idea. I will come back to that feedback on your God's God tip of the day there. Still dreaming of Portugal, of course. Sending love from Costa Moy. Thank you for that message, Helen. Lovely to hear from you this morning. And a bon dia alegria. We always have to have the bon dia alegria from anyone who sends it. From Aragiel this morning. Jean is in too. Jean, great to see you. Bon dia, feliz sexta-feira. And Nubianet. Slug, is it more comfortable at the beach? Imagine being a slug and being in sand. That can't be comfortable. We know that as human beings, don't we? You know, when you go to the beach, what's in it for me? Sand, probably. Hola, bon dia, kids. From a very pleasant, sunny Portimao from Victoria. All about the Portimao this morning and this moment on the show. Bon dia, Algria Gumpers. Jackie has an early spa appointment. Not Jackie, JC. Sorry, moving from Jack Polly to JC. Has an early spa appointment. What a pampered pooch. So we'll catch up on the replay. Bon fin semana. I don't want Jimmy and Peggy hearing about these spa appointments. Otherwise, they'll be wanting that treatment. Bon fin semana. They hose down in the garden occasionally. Bon fin semana. And don't forget to fondle that like button. Cheers, Cindy. Have a great weekend. Bon fin semana to you. And Carl, we have no government in Northern Ireland from our elections in May. What's happening? Where are all these politicians going? It's not like we're unhappy to see the back of them, but something's going on, isn't it? In May, no sign of a functioning government until mid-September. You put functioning and government in the same sentence? What are you thinking, Deagle? Until mid-September, we might go to the polls in January if nothing is in place by October. What a mess! Absolument, almost always, Slug talking about his beach habits there. I think. What a lovely week from Pete. We got to welcome Andy home yesterday with Alpha and Margarita, and today I have Ben Austin's cooking and Terence's amazing painting to enjoy. Living the dream. And I'm going to mount my Terence Austin, which if Terence Austin is listening, that will have made him listen in. Mounting an Austin. Take your pick, Gary or Terence. Probably. I'll move on. So he's got Ben Austin's cooking and Terence's amazing painting. Very blessed by this community. And to continue, I think Terence Austin has been mounted in various locations all over Portugal. He should have that on his website, shouldn't he? See me mounted all over Portugal. Victoria, Albufeira Beach was absolutely delightful yesterday. Sun and swim heavenly and rejuvenative. We're so glad to have you back in Portugal. We really are. Loved that thought. That's the deep thought, is it, from Abraham Maslow? It's the sublime and the ridiculous on this show, isn't it? The heights of intelligence and perception, and then smutty innuendos. Well, we got it all here. Thumbs down to extraneous syllables. Yes, absolutely. Struggling with them this morning. I am in a small picturesque village called Capella, near the city of Penafiel, 45 kilometers east of the city of Porto. So not too sweaty then up there in the north currently, or you're acclimatized by the sound of it, Marcus Duga. A good ocean breeze is a great thing. And on that note of ocean breezes, let's bring on our special guest this morning from undisclosed locations, as you might imagine, with a wad of passports and a bundle of cash. Here they are. Happy Phil and Darth this morning. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, we need to go to Phil first, I think, don't we, Ian? A.K.A. Darth this morning. He has got a tarpaulin behind him. Is this a way of keeping cool? Is this grey screen rather than a green screen?
I am sitting in a brand new awning. I always promised myself when we had a camper van, we're going to be so hip and cool. We're just going to be traveling and wild camping. We're not going to stop in any place for more than 30 seconds and we'll be on our way.
Yes, mystery machine.
That's right. However, in the changing plan that is now the Portugal Project Part 2, Take 2, which is 3 months there, 3 months here, touring around, we've managed to find some seasonal pitches which are much longer. They're much cheaper. But we can also have an awning, a drive-away awning. So I am sitting in the awning in a little village called Kessingland, which loosely translates as Kingsland, just south of Lowestoft.
Oh,
right?
So you're in the UK this morning.
I'm in the UK, but then the next week we go to Italy because obviously they're sorting themselves out with a new prime minister who needs sorting out. So I shall be in Italy next week to carry on Ian's work.
This is spooky now. This is really weird. Watch out, Emmanuel Macron, because I think he's coming through as well. What's going on here? So yes, we'll come back to you. Is that a crow in the distance there behind you, possibly, Phil?
Oh, we've got lots of bird life here. I had a pigeon on the roof of the awning a moment ago. He got a shock of his life, I can tell you.
He did. Yeah, we know what happens when pigeons get shocked. I hope you survive that. And Ian, you're just back from Europe. I think you look like you're in your home in the UK. Is that right?
I am. Yeah, we're back. When do we get back? Wednesday evening.
And where have you been? Because a lot of people love being in Portugal. A lot of Americans, especially, I think, love to be based in. Their dream of being in Portugal, not just because Portugal's great, because it's a lovely jumping off point for the whole of the rest of Europe. So if you could excite them with your recent travel adventures, where have you been?
Well, we left, I guess, about 4 weeks ago, headed down to the Vendée in France, which is kind of southern Brittany. It starts at La Rochelle, goes northwest. Lovely beachy area. Some of it's a bit too commercialized, but the bit we were in was really lovely. We had 10 days on a campsite, but in a flash mobile home type thing.
Look at you.
Well, we'd actually booked it 2 years ago to take all my kids and grandkids, and of course that didn't happen. Then it didn't happen the following year, and we had a large deposit that that financially.
Not like the pigeon. Not like the pigeon.
Not like the pigeon.
Right.
that we were going to lose. So we thought, well, we may as well use it up, just the two of us. So we had a lovely time, very relaxed. And then we headed across France via a place called Bourges, which is kind of cathedral town with some beautiful old medieval streets. And a night there, and then arrived in Annecy, which is kind of the Venice of France, I guess. A bit like a Vero, except
yes, exactly like
Alps in the background, which is, I just love the mountains. So we had a couple of days there, and then headed down to Italy, where we stayed in a town called Sirmione, which is on Lake Garda.
Oh, beautiful!
And which is stunning. Again, you've got Alps in the background, so it's very atmospheric. Had a fantastic party there with my cousin. It was his wife's 25th wedding anniversary, and there was 70 of us all arrived in Sirmione to have a party.
Oh, how lovely!
That was a bit special.
Sounds great, yeah.
Seriously drunken, and then we headed back up 2 or 3 days in Chamonix with my cousin. We'd all arrived back there at the same time, and then arrived back Wednesday.
So have you been doing a bit of skiing as well?
It's a bit warm for that.
Oh, is it? Right, of course. Chamonix gets hot in the summer.
Yeah, you can get up onto the glaciers, but that involves walking across an erect with 2,000-foot drops either side.
That sounds dangerous. Yeah.
Kind of don't do that. Not too old for that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So did some walking though. Walking along the valleys. It's a beautiful part to go walking, climbing, hiking. That sort of the Alps is just fantastic to walk in.
Oh,
So I did a
you,
bit of that.
oh, you too. Honestly, this is lovely. Demonstrating, living the dream, moving around Europe. It's fantastic, and a bit of a camper van theme as well as the government destabilization theme. So you have managed to. I mean, it's not like the Italians need much encouragement to have an unstable government. Let's be honest. You know, it's just to say, practice
They've been known to have 1 or 2 prime ministers a
a
week.
week, a week. Yes, yeah.
So
It's fascinating, though, isn't it? The UK and Italy and Armenia, Mrs. M was telling me this morning, without prime ministers at the moment. The Sri
yeah,
Lankan
I didn't get to Armenia, so I'm not.
so you say, so you say. I'm just disappearing up to the glaciers of Chamonix, and there he goes. He flies off to Armenia to have a word with the leadership over there. So yeah, absolutely wonderful to see you both checking in. We're talking about fitness of mind and body, and those are your respective departments. Let's put your comment on the screen then from earlier on in the show, Ian. What are you telling us today?
Well, basically, when it's very hot and trying to obviously avoid fires, we don't have too many of those in the UK, though they do occasionally.
Yes, true.
Try and get out into the woods, because A, you get shade, and B, the water evaporating from all the leaves drops the temperature by 5, 6, 7 degrees. So it's cooler in that area anyway. So you can go out for a nice walk in beautiful surroundings, hopefully, and it's safer to do so rather than being out in the open, particularly on concrete roads, pavements. They're so much hotter, and you get the reflected sunlight as well. You try and avoid those when it's really, really hot.
Good call.
And of course, hydrate.
How much at this time of year are you recommending?
Well, I actually tried to research this the other day, and there wasn't. I couldn't find anything that was definitive. But my read of it all the documentation is that when it gets to sort of 30 degrees plus, you're probably using at least half a litre, if not a litre of water a day more than you would normally.
Is that right?
So that's kind of, you have to put it in.
Okay.
So just and drink before you feel thirsty, because that's too late.
There's always that, isn't there? Yeah, and isn't it funny that as human beings now in the modern age, we have to be told to drink, and we're out of touch in many ways with that response of keeping ourselves hydrated. And you can get towards the end of the day, can't you think something's wrong here? It's like I'm flipping parched. That's what's wrong. I haven't been drinking water for 5 hours. And
headaches are a typical tell.
Okay.
So if you're feeling slightly heady,
yes,
almost certainly that's down to lack of water.
And you said before, didn't you, to sip all day rather than to have gulp the massive. Oh, okay, 3 liters. I need 3 liters a day. Don't drink that all in one go.
No, and to be fair, food counts. Fruit. It all counts towards that. 2-3 liters. Certainly 2 liters normally. 3 liters probably now.
And Dr. Michael made a comment about this, because I was saying I nearly got struck off because he made me an honorary doctor with some of the contributions I've been giving by his side. And I was saying beer doesn't count. He said, well, actually, beer is actually okay in moderation as a hydrating factor. And then somebody very kindly sent me some recent research that says one kind of mini beer a day is also very good for gut health. So some good news there. Maybe don't make it all Sagres and Super Bock with the 3 liters, but a little bit of it in there is no bad thing.
Probably the live beers rather than ones that
is somebody operating a bandsaw now? We've got some interesting sound effects going on there.
I think that might be me. I'll turn the mic off when it's not me personally. I think there's a. Yes, I think my stomach's making strange aeroplane noises. I think there's something flying up the coast. And let me just do this and see if it disappears.
There is definitely something flying up the coast, which does sound like a euphemism, but I think literally there is something flying up the coast at Phil's end. No, I didn't mean to say that. Where Phil is located. But we need your mic open, Phil, because we need to check in with you, our guru this morning. on matters of mental fitness. What's been on your mind then recently, Phil? We've really enjoyed your contributions of manifestation and making your dreams come true. You're living that dream that so many people think of. You've adapted, as you said it when you came on. You know, you had an original dream to be touring in quite a vigorous way. Now you're 3 months here, 3 months here. You've got the same quality, but you've adapted the kind of game plan a little bit. What's been on your mind since we last saw you in this regard?
Oh, so much. On the specific subject of traveling, the key for good karma whilst traveling, I think, is to get rid of the clock, to not try and be in a place by a certain time. Those who saw my rather out of breath performance the last time we were on together will know I was trying to get to Eurotunnel by a certain time because the van had broken down in central Spain. We had steam coming out of the radiator and no chance of getting anywhere and couldn't stay cool, and it was 38 degrees centigrade and I was panicking, and I had tickets for the Twickenham final for Leicester Tigers, who of course won. Sorry, Ian. And that was all based around all of that pressure, all of that stress was based around time, was having to do everything by a certain time. And so now if I've got to be somewhere, I'm aiming to be anywhere. If I have to be there for a certain time, because sometimes, you know, you've got to be at the dentist for a certain time. You've got to be at the optician for a certain time. I'm getting to the area ridiculously early and then just pottering around to see what I can find, which is taking away all that stress of the time. By the way, talking of stress, my children for my birthday bought me a Fitbit. Bless them, but they're obviously concerned.
Right. Well, that's a good moment, because I don't really. I'm quite late to technology. Sometimes it took me a long time to get into CDs, and then when I did, I think Spotify came out. I'm quite a late adopter of certain technologies. It took me a long time to get an iPhone. Fitbits, then I get it. It does what it says on the tin. Probably it helps you to be fit. But do you approve of this such technology, or are you a bit old school with this, Ian? What are Fitbits? And we'll come back to Phil on his experience, and is it helping? But do you think this is a good innovation that we've got with these Fitbits and things that connect up to our bodies and to the computers, Ian?
Well, I kind of have a simple one. It's an old school one. It actually has, if you see that, has hands.
Yes.
It has hands, but it also has a little screen that tells you if you want to know what your heart rate is, and it has a little dial that tells you how many steps you've done in a day without actually being a number. So it's a bit more analog. And I guess I've had this 3-4 years now. Well, this is the second one, and it's already broken, so I'll need another one.
What is it about you? You broke the weighing scales. You've broken the fitness watch. You're sort of driving these things to.
Well, I think Q hasn't sorted it out for me yet.
Yes. Does it shoot a poison dart as well?
Yeah, that's exactly that. But I have found, indeed, my wife bought me the first one. Probably just a subtle hint, but it does help. It just, rather than being an actual number, though it does link with the phone and gives you actual numbers, it just gives you a feel for how far you've walked in a day.
Yeah.
And it just if you're just doing shopping and then going to the coffee shop, and it all adds up. And you think, oh, actually, I've done 6,000-7,000 roughly steps today. Because it's not, you don't need to know exactly how many steps you've done. You just have to have a feel for it, really. So analog works well in that way.
Yeah, and generally speaking, it's not something where you're not going to beat yourself up. You're going to look at it and go, "Well, that's good. I didn't realise I'm so able and fit and mobile here. This is great."
It is. It's more gives you a warm feeling when you've done a few steps, and it builds up to 10, 12,000 or whatever in a day.
Who doesn't like a warm feeling in the morning? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, don't go there.
Too late.
But but just sort of getting back to, because we discussed on our little WhatsApp group what we should talk about this morning, and travel is, Phil and I have both been traveling, and trying to stay healthy when you're driving 500-600 kilometers in a day is really important, because you're sat on your backsides for hours on end. And I kind of planned our various trips around about an hour and a half's driving, and then being able to break for 5, 10, 15 minutes, or maybe even having lunch, just to be able to stand up, walk around a bit, shake everything out, do some, just gentle movements to release all the sort of tension that you've got. But also trying to drive relaxed, making sure that your seat's in the right position, so you're not tense all the time, because that has a really draining effect. And I seem to have got it right this trip.
You're getting the balance right of making sure you're not just sat on your bottom all the time. While you mention it, I haven't been traveling Europe. It's quite good for me to be fairly close to the studio for long periods of time. I'm thinking though of changing from a sit-down show to a stand-up show. I might remodel the studio so that I'm actually perched on a stool or standing up for the show. Because ever since you've been talking about loss of muscle mass, I have noticed that my once pert buttocks are now somewhat more relaxed than they were some years ago. Being sat on them is perhaps not the best thing to do. So I might just stand up and do the show and flex my buttocks from time to time in the way that you're prescribing, I think, there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, there's been a bit of a movement for having stand-up desks, isn't there? And I guess if you're particularly in offices that hot desk, if you can just sort of rock up to a desk, stand up, stick your laptop on it, work for half an hour, and then go off to a meeting. That's probably quite a good way of doing it. Yes. Who was it? I think it was the guy who ran EasyJet. He used to have stand-up meetings.
Yes.
They didn't have a table. They just stood up.
See, I think that's a great idea in the corporate world. Because then people don't hang about, do they? They literally don't get their feet under the table. Let's get on with this and let's get moving. Great idea. Thank you, T-Duck, for your virtual production here. Actually, virtualizing, not being in the studio, but keeping an eye on things. We've got Ian a little bit low, so I'm manually adjusting behind the scenes here. We've got Phil's really hot, and Ian's very low. That's not a description of their moods or sexual attractiveness. That is actually it is as well, possibly in Phil's case. But Phil's really hot. That's one of the best reviews so far this morning, isn't it? I'm manually adjusting that, D-Duck, so I'm all over that. So Fitbits, and this is what. Thank you for your thoughts on that, there, Ian. Stephen was saying if you can monitor it, you can modify it. So how's it going with the gift from the kids, Phil, of a Fitbit?
I'm really enjoying it. It analyzes my sleep, which is
yes.
Fantastic. I've always wanted to have my sleep analyzed, and now I do. No, on a semi-serious note, it's good to clock your steps. I mean, we tend to park in sites where the shop is about a mile to a mile and a half away. So
his Fitbit just kicked in there, Ian. He's just talking. This is even more spooky now, isn't it? Talking about destabilizing governments, and then your suspected operative just disappears from the screen like that. Let's yes. Hopefully in a good way, if there is such a thing. Okay, we will wait for Phil to return and his Fitbit analysis there. You were saying earlier on, I would think the Western Algarve towards Sagres would be cooler. Yeah. At this time, tell us, folks, if you're in Portugal, what your experience of the coolest place to be is. I don't mean, fashionably cool, although that's welcome too, but 21 degrees here on the Silver Coast at the moment. I think we've been quite fortunate just recently. It is warm and humid, but nothing like central Portugal with its, temperatures reaching 40. which is incredible. Orientate or orientated, do you think, Ian? I don't think there is a verb orientate, so I think oriented would be the proper past tense. What do you think? And that's what I think Victoria was saying. Yeah, thumbs down to extraneous syllables. That's very American, though, isn't it? Lose syllables if you possibly can. What do you say, orientated or orientate?
I think I say orientated.
Yes, I think that's the British way. I think yes, if you can be verbose, we often are, aren't we, from the UK. Good morning from Nuno. Finally, Friday. He's had a busy week, that man. Some of the young ones were saying conversate for a minute instead of converse. That's too. That's Americans going the other way with these, making things overcomplicated there, possibly. And everything calm in Quinta do Lago and no fires around. Thank you for that report, Nuno, this morning. Good to hear that. Boa tarde from Korea. This morning from Amelie Kelly. Good morning, Amelie. How are you doing? I had breakfast with Gary Kasparov on a checkered tablecloth. It took 2 hours to pass me the salt. Well, hey, dad joke, chest joke, all in one there. Very good. I actually thought that was an actual anecdote of somebody breakfast with a chest grate there. That's very funny. Thank you, Paul, for that. And to Victoria from Nuno, I arrived late to Portimao Meetup and didn't have the opportunity to meet you. It seems that I arrived 2 minutes after you left. IPMA, very good website, has now posted news on the page that it was the hottest month of July ever. So we've had the hottest July. Stevie Wonder comes to mind then. OLP's in as well with some hearts and kisses for us. Beijinhos to you, igualmente, OLP. And look at this. Pete talking in Portuguese. And to Nuno, fico contente por ouvir isto. Iremos certamente contactá-lo em breve. So he's going to be in touch with. Phil's back now. Seria fantástico se conseguíssemos que a nossos caminhos se cruzassem. Are you glad I did that bit, Ian?
Yeah.
Probably yes. Okay.
Basically, it's interesting, isn't it? Talking, I really can't get. I'm not a bad mimic. I've always been a bit of a mimic, a bit like you, I think, Carl. But I really struggle getting the Portuguese accent. French accent, no problem at all. But the Portuguese accent, I'm really struggling with it.
Okay, we're going to test that. If anyone's got a nice French phrase that you would like Ian to say with a French accent. Yes, but if you want Ian to talk in a sexy way, in a French way, just give us the script and he'll voice that for you. Phil might be up for a bit of that as well. What happened there, Phil?
Well, I think it was T-Duck. I think, do you know what happened? My phone suddenly came up with a message saying, your phone is overheating. Some things are going to fall off the edge of the planet. And they did, including this. So, T-Duck, what'd you do to my phone? Yes. I want to know.
T-Duck
that was like
you, possibly.
Thoughts becoming things. It's
yes.
Like, Phil is hot. No, but the phone overheated. That was spooky. Oh, yeah, I like the French accent as well. You know, if you ever want to do a great French accent, you just pretend you've smoked 20 Gauloises in half an hour. You go, oh, you get the crowd in your voice.
That's right.
Je m'appelle Phil, j'habite en Angleterre. You know.
That's really sexy.
You know, you do all of that stuff.
You do.
So
and you can actually call yourself Philippe Philop, can't you, with your name?
Thank you so much. You can't beat a dad French joke or a French dad joke.
We do our best. We do our best.
Oh, best dad joke of all time is still horse walks into a bar and the barman says, "Why the long face?"
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where's my jingle?
I beat you to the jingle.
There we go. Wishing all you folks, we're a bit behind with the comments and the interaction from our community this morning, gents. So let's have a look. Wishing you folks in Portugal a cool and rainy weekend. Yeah, there was some rain spotted yesterday in the country, which is good. And Pete says we broke a record just down the road in Luzão, 46 degrees yesterday, possibly hotter today. I mean, unthinkable. I was going to ask you, Phil, about this. Your gaff in Portugal, that's a bit of British there. Your home, your residence in Portugal is near Monsanto in the Castelo Branco district. How do you cope as a Brit with those high temperatures? By being in Lowestoft, maybe?
you come back to the UK for the summer, you see, because it's very, I mean, we bought our property in August, September.
Is he overheating again? He's overheated again. Just talking about the temperature, and he just goes like that. It's amazing.
Well, just talking about temperature, Carl, it's forecast to be 37 here in this area of the UK Monday and Tuesday. So you can imagine the UK would just grind to a halt.
It will, won't it? Everyone will have their shirt off and the barbecues will be on. Just with the news of that, not even if it doesn't arrive, people will still be having their barbecues. Just the mere mention of high temperatures. Happy weekend, everyone. Sorry, go on, mate.
So I'm going to say the supermarkets, you'll see people walking out with 10 packs of beers.
Sausages.
They won't bother eating anything. They'll just drink the beer.
No, yeah, fair enough. Happy weekend, everyone, from Aragel up there in the north. Take care. Yeah, thank you for that. Wishing all the dry places on the planet rain, but not too much and no lightning, of course. Yeah. Miguel Luis Souza Diaz. Morning, Miguel. Bon dia to you. I think the Sahara sands contribute something to the fertility of our grounds. I think you're right there. And we live in an old, hundreds of years ago used to be a seabed here, and it's extremely fertile. It's amazing the growing that goes on behind the cliffs on the Silver Coast here. 32 degrees already there in central Portugal, where Pete is in Fundão, but never heard of it helping against fires there, the Saharan sands. I learned that 28 degrees centigrade equals 82 Fahrenheit. Oh, that's good. So that palindromic numbers, if that is a thing, been very helpful in understanding the amount of heat in centigrade degrees feels. Yeah, you double it and add 30. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. One of the easier conversions to do. However, the temperatures feel could be higher than the actual temperature, carries on Miguel there. Yeah, often the way, isn't it? You think to yourself, oh, like now, I mean, it's only 22 degrees officially in the Silver Coast. It just feels like 30 odd. In the studio here. Also, 10 degrees is more or less 50. 15 is more or less 60. And 20 is just under 70.
Minus 40 is minus 40.
Is that right? Is that when they get to the same? Okay. It's when it gets to absolute Kelvin that you need to worry, though, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
to bring in another.
Yeah, it gets a bit chilly. You get a bit crispy around the fingertips.
Good for skiing.
And other extremities.
But it's not funny. Bom dia, cambada. It has a nice Portuguese greeting, I think. Bom dia, cambada. There. Oh, it could be a dance as well, couldn't it? Doing the cambada. And bom dia from João. Oh, to João F there. And to another Mr. Slug from Miguel. Cambada, says João F. A new word for you gumpers to learn. Is it a savoury one, though? And thank you for your lovely contributions via WhatsApp on 913-590-303 João F. Talking of events, I've added a few more, including free paddleboarding, kayak and windsurfing, a carnival, etc. Don't forget to log in. So when you go to the events page, excuse me a minute. My goodness, I hope I muted there because that sounded terrible. Talking of events then, yeah, the free paddleboarding, the kayak and the windsurfing and a carnival. These are all the events that Andy very diligently adds to the events page at expatsportugal.com. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? The paddleboarding is going to be very good for core fitness, I would think.
Yeah.
Kayaking and windsurfing. I mean, you've got to be very fit to do windsurfing, haven't you, Ian?
Getting back on the board when you fall off is pretty difficult.
Exercise in its own right. Yeah, so thank you for that.
It is indeed. It is.
And
indeed.
a bit of dance.
I haven't done windsurfing for years. I did it when I was younger.
Right. Sounds so strenuous.
I did do some sailing in a little dinghy in Cyprus a couple of years back, and Julie got blown over a couple of times.
Terrifying.
I'm glad to say that I was drilled very carefully by my dad as to how to get back into a boat. Even at my advanced ages, I really had a lovely time. But
being upside down in the water is no fun, is it? So anyone who's going sailing, as you say, drilling is the word, isn't it? To practice the capsize and remount. Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed.
Okay.
Paddleboarding is good for your core, as is kayaking.
Yes, of course. With action,
you're pulling against the oars.
And I'm hoping one day we will have a gang of us doing that and at the Obidos Lagoon. That could be great fun.
Yeah,
and we
fantastic.
we might even do that 3-day thing that Miguel was talking about, who's over there in the Foz. who said, they do a 3-day trip around the lagoon, in early indigenous ancestors, not leaving a trace of where they've been, cooking by the shore, sleeping by the shore, back in the kayak the next day and going around the lagoon. Sounds like a lot of fun. I think we could have some campfire.
I've certainly seen when we were there some while ago, we were having white sangria at the yacht club in Foz, and overlooking the lagoon, and there was a whole bunch of people out paddleboarding, going all the way down towards the where the waves come in. They avoided those, but it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a lovely part of the world. That's a special memory there. Hi Jack from Nunu. Such a pleasure to meet you all at the Portimao meeting after chatting, calling and emailing for several months. Wish you all a great weekend. What's he like, Jack Polly, in real life, that Nunu bloke? Isn't functioning, this is an earlier comment, isn't functioning government an oxymoron? And it would appear to be, wouldn't it?
In the UK.
Well, the crisis. I mean, it occurred to me last night that the government is the crisis. It's supposedly trying to sort one out, the cost of living, or whichever one you'd like to think of. But it's its own crisis. What's it looking like in the UK at the moment politically, Ian?
Oh God, absolute disaster zone.
Okay.
Actually, having them all arguing with each other to become, the new prime minister or leader of the Tory party keeps them out of trouble. It means they're not doing anything, and that's a much better position to be in. We can get on with living.
Well, there are jobs like that, aren't there? When people aren't doing them, things actually improve, and perhaps being a politician is one of them. Except shout out to all the quiet and service-based, humanity-focused politicians, and we know there are many of those people around the world who genuinely care about doing good stuff for people, who are probably in the lower ranks of government and keeping things moving and serving people. So special hello to you. It's a difficult time to call yourself a politician, but we know that there are many hundreds of thousands of people around the world who got into it to help people and probably are doing that as we speak. So special love and hugs to you this morning, but not those at the top, it would seem. Now you know why I'm in Portugal, says Deagle. Why I'm in Portugal so much. No government, and the Portuguese government working well. Also, it would appear. I think you get a different view if you talk to the Portuguese about that, as I did last weekend. It's interesting. Not knowing the language and the culture is very helpful. There's another tactic for dealing with politics. Just don't understand it. Bon dia, Joao, Thunderduck. We have Stephen, Ian, Solar. This is interesting when we read it like that. From Deagle. Think we'll hit 20 massive degrees in Northern Ireland today. Steady on over there. Everybody in Northern Ireland, lots of love to everyone over there. They have a different kind of rising temperature, don't they, in Northern Ireland at the moment. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday. Yeah, says Simon. I want to talk to you about biogas, Simon, at some point, if we may. In the past few hours, the little rain we've gotten was at night most of the time over there in California. And Nubianet saying also, I hope to do a European road trip. I've only done a few cities on the train, but it's been a while. I fancy that. I might be making a trip to Italy myself to thicken the plot later on this summer. And I'm thinking of going by train from Portugal to Italy. Ian, have you traveled much by train in Europe?
I did some years ago. So just a little story. For my 60th birthday, I'd arranged to go and see my cousin in Chamonix, and we arrived at Luton Airport at some ungodly hour of the morning. We're sat in departures, and I was looking at the display board, and suddenly my flight said cancelled. So departures with a cancelled flight.
Right.
And eventually we managed to make our way back out of the airport and thought, well, what the hell do we do now? There aren't any other flights going out to Geneva. Everything was booked up. It was a Saturday, I think. So I thought, well, I can get into St Pancras from here. It's a direct train. You can run straight in. So we did that, went to see the man at Eurotunnel or Eurostar, and he got us a trip all the way through to Annecy. And my cousin picked us up from there, and we arrived in Chamonix within about an hour and a half when we would have done otherwise.
Wow, good effort.
We'd gone by train, and it was fantastic.
Yes.
So
that's exactly how James Bond.
Yeah, trains, the French trains, the German trains, the Italian trains, they seem to have got some new ones because we saw some actually travelling and they don't half go quick. They're coming, we were doing, I guess, about 80 miles an hour and they were coming pouring past us. So they must be doing 140, 150, I reckon.
I noticed that you left the British trains out of that analysis there.
Yeah, well, there is a bit of British trains that works quite quickly down to Folkestone. That's
Yeah.
the only bit. But I travel. I used to train far more here than I used to.
Yeah.
Purely because it's just more pleasant. Driving
Yes.
in the UK is just horrible
Well,
compared with the continent.
So true, so true. So Nubianette, that sounds lovely. I would like to make a trans-European. I can have craft work going on in the background, kind of Trans-Europe Express. I'm looking forward to that. And anyone else with memories or suggestions for traveling across Europe by train, gratefully received here.
Did you hear what the Germans have been doing with their trains? They've got a monthly. I think it's €9 for a month to use the German trains.
Really?
Yeah, that may be coming to an end, but to sort of counter the cost of living crisis, energy crisis.
Well, that's pretty amazing. So if that were Britain, you would have people going on the trains to keep warm, possibly. Yeah,
well, certainly in the winter.
€9.
Or keep cool because some of them have air conditioning these days.
There you go. There's a little life hack for people in the cost of living crisis from us. Look, we've got him back again, the hottie that is Phil, who's so hot his phone breaks down. How's it going?
Well, I've had easier mornings. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine, and you're not too loud on this occasion. This is your detachable awning you're still in, or are you in something else?
No. I'm in the awning on my laptop now because my phone decided it was too hot. Well,
yes. I think that's amazing.
I should be buying a Samsung Galaxy whatever next time and not a Google Pixel 6 Pro, just in case you were thinking of buying one. I wouldn't. It gets too hot and it's a bit Gallic, I would say. It's kind of a Spanish phone, you know. It's going to work until it gets too hot, and then it's just going to pack up and go home.
That's a review they weren't expecting at Google.
I was thinking it was a bit Gallic. His phone smelt of Gauloise.
Oh, don't talk to me about Gauloise.
Which some people might quite like. There isn't actually a phone anyone that smells of Gauloise, but we can work on that for you. Okay, we're talking about traveling across Europe by train, obviously by camper van. If you're Phil as well, and the camper van life. Any questions about moving across Europe in a camper van? Phil will take those. And the beautiful parts of Europe that Ian has been to recently. Any questions about Italy or France as well, as we have a relaxed Feelgood Friday with these gentlemen here, Ian and Phil, this morning. We thought he'd lost you for good, actually, there, Phil. But yes, easy vibes. We're not letting these technical challenges get us down. And actually, to be fair, it's pretty remarkable that you are living the van life, and here you are checking into a show on a live stream. I think that's pretty extraordinary. You're not deprived in any way, are you, technologically, it would seem?
No, we've got everything that we actually take for granted. You know, it would have been more of an adventure, I think, 30 years ago, where communications were maybe a pen and a postcard or a dodgy phone box somewhere.
Yes, dodgy phone
boxes. I mean, it was a pity for my kids. They could never use the same excuses I did, such as, oh, well, the phone box at the nightclub was vandalized. That's why I didn't call you to tell you I wasn't getting in till 3:45 a.m. You know, that sort of thing, that sort of excuse. I know where you were. I was tracking your phone because I'm sick. You know what I mean?
Yes. Times have changed, haven't they? Oh, a little note in from Pete here, Ian, connected to what you were saying earlier on, a caveat. You're banned from walking, entering a lot of forest areas until Sunday. So with the state of contingency in Portugal, some of the large wooded areas you're not allowed into, but you may well be able to go to your local park de merenda. Please don't have a barbecue, but get the benefit of the trees. There is a massive difference, and we should say thank you to our ancestors who were thoughtful enough to plant trees for us back in the day, because it makes such a difference on those tree-lined avenues, in those little forested areas that are the Parque das Moreiras in Portugal. It's quite amazing that sort of foresight was there. Hopefully we'll be as cool as those ancestors were and the benefits we're enjoying from their foresight. But the GNR have shut them off as they don't want people there when a fire starts. So maybe better advice in the UK than Portugal to be among the trees there. Good point from Simon, agreeing with you there, Pete. Hola, Joao. Catherine Connon, welcome. Kate's here from time to time there, Joao. Please don't go into forests or forest paths. The declaration of contingency does ban it. You could be arrested or much worse, caught in a fire. Well, a good point. Well made. Thank you for that. Refitbits, yes, if you can monitor it, you can modify it. I don't know how far we got because we lost you there, Phil. But are you pleased with the experience? You're having your sleep monitored. What data do you get from that? How many times you were groaning and having a fitful time during the night?
Well, I guess it's running off breaths per minute and actually your pulse rate, and it's actually working out when you're in light sleep, heavy sleep, or REM. If you're awake, if you're unsettled, I take all of these things with a certain amount of salt in the pinch form.
Yes.
In so much as I don't think it gives you a definitive, but I think it gives you an interesting way of just measuring. If you have it's a bit like weight loss, isn't it? Do we really want to lose weight, or do we just feel like we want to look better? Most of the time, we just want to feel like we're looking better than we are right now. And when you take your weight, you're just taking a line in the sand that you're going to do a comparative against. So when you measure it the following week, it's just a comparison of where your weight is. It might have gone down, but maybe your stomach has sagged to your knees, as it has in my case. That may not be so great. You may not want that. You may not feel that makes you feel. So I think the only thing I don't really like is I haven't worn a watch for about 30 years. And having something on my wrist has taken some adjusting to, because I'm just not used to having something on my wrist all the time. But aside from that, no, I think the experience is pretty good. I'm logging some of my food, obviously not all of it. We wouldn't want the truth to come out. All of my water, and I drink a lot. I've always drank a lot of water, and I still do. So, and it's measuring my steps, so that's good. And my resting beats per minute's just a tad over 60, so I'm in reasonable shape, and it's telling me when I should be working harder and when I should be resting up. So it's kind of nice to have. Is it essential? Nah, not really. Not really. It's not telling you anything you don't know, but because it's there all the time, it jogs your memory that actually you could be doing this or you could be doing that, and therefore you do a little bit more of the positive stuff and maybe a little bit less of the negative stuff, and that helps.
Very good. That's a pretty good a Fitbit review there. Thank you for that. And as Stephen says, if you can monitor it, you can modify it. And you've got that baseline, a reference point, benchmark that you were talking about, Phil. So anyone else with anything to say about Fitbits? Today's the day to talk about it. An easygoing Feelgood Friday with Ian Turner and Phil Cooklin here of Kuwudu, incidentally, just hanging out, talking about fitness for mind and body. Not overdoing it, though, because that's not how we roll here. Just gentle fitness for the bon viveurs, both in mind and body. And we've got some lovely comments coming in. Deborah, I'm going to show your pictures in just a moment. You may recall that Deborah Davies is working on an art installation in Wells Cathedral. It is extraordinary, and the backstory is incredible too. So we'll show those pictures in just a moment. I kept saying hello, but you didn't say hi back. Then I saw I was watching yesterday's show. Yes, Deborah. That tends to happen. It's hard for me to be in the past saying hello. If I could, I would, believe me. Morning, Carl. I'm glad you're with us now, by the way, Deborah. Morning, Carl, from Annie. How are you two doing over there? Fred Yander was very challenged by the fires earlier this week. Hope everything's okay for you now, Annie and George over there. Top temperature in Portugal this year till now, Pinhal, 47 degrees. That's in the north, not in the central. 47 is hot. Love my standing desk. Who doesn't like to be upright first thing in the morning? Much more productive at the standing desk. Okay, I think I'm going to do it. I got a sit-stand desk converter a month or so ago, and it's great. Is that a crank or a push of a button? Why does that work? To all the others I missed greeting because each day there's a growing number of newcomers to this wonderful show. I apologize. Não faz mal, João F. You are equally important to this community. Nice for saying that. Thank you very much, João F. Carl, talk of buttocks here. My eye was drawn to this comment. Sitting on a large exercise ball, which you have to balance on, can help balance and buttocks. Well, 2 for the price of 1 there. I just think that could go wrong, me sitting on a large exercise ball for the show. What do you think, Jen? Seagull.
Seagulls, dogs.
Seagulls. All of life is there.
I'm never far away from the birds, mate.
A gravity and age ultimately always win in the competition with pert. Yeah, I guess so. We've got pert minds though here. I think we'd like to think we've got pert minds still. At EasyJet, they used to charge employees for chairs at meetings. Well, and a sandwich. That is different to stand-up meetings. Very good. Thank you for that. Entropy always wins in the end. Is that Abraham Maslow as well, I wonder? Or Mark Twain? Bon dia, folks. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. From Owen, how are you doing? Your video of the smoke cloud in Leria, I think it's had over 4,000 views now on our YouTube channel. Owen, it's incredible. People want to know what's going on over here. What's this? Smalls on the line. Now time for Brecky. And that wasn't a comment. I thought for a minute you were saying that Phil's underpants were hung up behind him. That's your Smalls, Victor. That's not his underpants. That is just a pattern of the detachable awning. Smalls on the line. Now time for Brecky and a high intensity. A bit of fartlek for breakfast this morning for Victoria. Original God Squad member, Phil. How far away is the Wi-Fi? It wasn't the Wi-Fi. It was the Google heat sensor making a problem there.
Mobile data.
Yep, especially in the end. Very good. See what you did there. AGL, I've had several doctors tell me you don't need 10,000 steps after the age of 60. 6,000 to 7,000 steps are best. I just do 3 miles walking to the marina and back, and then a slower walk with the dog. Now, this is what we're talking about, Ian, isn't it? It's like 10,000 steps. Get out there, do them, drop and give me 10,000. And when you put it like, I'm just going to do a 3-mile walk to the marina, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? A little slow walk with the dog. That's the way to do it, right? Frame it in a positive.
Totally.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
I mean, 10,000 is just a random number, isn't it?
Yes.
It's someone's come up with because it's an easy thing to remember.
Yes.
I'm not so sure that as you get older you should be doing less. I'm not convinced about that.
Oh, okay.
So I can be a bit, I certainly, if I'm going for a really good walk, that would be 8-10K, something like that.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But then there's other days I don't hardly do any. So it's. I think for most people, a 3-mile walk to the marina and back. I'd love a 3-mile walk to the marina and back. That sounds lovely, especially if there's a coffee at the marina.
That's the way to do it. That's how we roll. Velio Amigo says a little bit of Portuguese coaching here. Important to get this the right way around. To the slug from João F. If you say Amigo Velio, you aren't calling me a long-time friend, but rather just calling me old, as in aged. So get that the right way around. Get your adjective in the right place here in Portugal. Otherwise, you might cause offence. Oriented, not orientated, which I suppose, yes, that famous railway station in Lisbon. Lisbon Orient, not Lisbon orientated. AGL also, now we're talking, a chair massager is good for long desk sitting periods. And where do you hire such a person, I wonder, here in Portugal? It massages and stimulates the circulation. For those who don't know the word, João F mentioned cambada. It is the same as Malta. It means guys, people. However, use it carefully. Mrs. Emma's just come in with a wine glass. Bit too early for me, love. Cup of tea would be great, though. Thank you very much. And yes, watch out for the green hand. Go on, Phil.
Sorry, but my day of challenges is not at an end because Lady Kimberly, who, as you know, finances my adventures around Europe, needs my phone to be able to phone in to business.
It has been lovely, Phil.
I'm sorry. It's been a disaster area for you.
No, not at all. Never refer to it like that. It's been lovely to see you, and you've demonstrated
one parting thing that you should always do when traveling, which is
Please.
if you wake up and you're feeling a bit down, you're probably, if you said, if 1 was a scale where 1 to 20 was a scale where 1 is, oh my word, I want to sit under the desk and think of ways of killing myself, and 20 is, oh, I'm bouncing on the clouds today. And if
Yeah.
you happen to wake up on a 4 or a 5 day, don't try and get from 5 to 20. Just do something small that will take you from 5 to 6. It will make you feel better. And if you do that day after day, soon enough, you'll be bouncing on the clouds.
Oh, bless you, Phil. What a lovely note to leave on. Love to Lady Kimberly and to you. Thank you so much from the great big pair of underpants. That is the campsite delight of Phil and Kimberly there. See you later, mate.
See you,
Bye.
Phil.
Bye.
That is superb what Phil just said. He's absolutely
like
right.
that.
Yeah, incremental mood movement there. And when he wasn't being glib, when he said being sat under the desk thinking of ways to kill yourself, that is part of Phil's story. He's been in that situation. Top corporate, successful guy, and he found himself under his desk one day, wondering how on earth he could carry on. Find out more at Kuwu Do. They got a YouTube channel, and they help and work and coach people to live the life of their dreams. And I think in many ways, we've kind of all been there at some point, haven't we, with that level of desperation? And he talks from actual experience there. Ian, did you look like you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking how that's very similar to physical fitness, isn't it? You just do a little bit, a little bit more every day, and gradually you get to the stage where you're doing enough, and to stay really healthy and feeling good. So it's trying to turn things overnight is just never ever going to work, or rather it might work temporarily, but it's never going to be sustainable.
And ultimately demotivating, right? If you don't get quick results, you're going to think to yourself, "This is not worth doing," and then you're shooting yourself.
You then think you failed.
Yeah,
which is just a little bit extra every day, and it needs to be a minute or two or 5.
Easy does it, folks. Easy does it. Excellent parting note there from our mate Phil in Lowestoft with the seagulls, the dogs, the overflying aircraft this morning. From João F to Miguel. Oh, bit of Portuguese there. I'm not going to try that again, but I'm sure that makes a lot of sense. When you're in tune with the vibes of the Portuguese there. Ian has a certain je ne sais quoi. There you go. Bit of French. Oh, ouais. Rishab, is it? Have a great weekend, everyone. We are moving that way, aren't we? The weekend has begun officially here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Lovely to see you, Phil. Give our love to Lady K. Absolutely, yes, from all of us there, Phil. And from Sarah Smith, nom de plume. Oops, hedge. Anna Olsen. Now, since we've all started going to IKEA, we know what hedge means, don't we? And a bit more Swedish there. I don't know what DVS means. I don't think that's necessarily Swedish there. Happy Phil does have one of those voices that reminds me of British films from the 40s, 50s, and even 60s to a certain extent. It sounds excellent to my ears. Maybe like Trevor Howard in Brief Encounter. Do you love me, darling? Do you really? I think we're going to miss our train in just a moment. Terrible to have to part on these terms. Black and white, cigarettes, boiled eggs on the counter. I'm in Scotland at the moment, but have lived in Las Vegas and Arizona. Worst temperatures were New England with the humidity and the snow, etc. That's interesting. Thank you for that. It's about being prepared, isn't it? And as you were saying earlier on, Ian, the Brits just aren't prepared for the high temperatures that are coming their way. So it could be chaotic.
It's bound to be. And the heat, and it must be the humidity is different here from because it was in the mid 30s when we were in Italy, but sat by Lake Garda and being able to dip in there every hour or so, I suppose makes a difference.
Wonderful. Sounds lovely.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, Lake Garda. It's only me. Is it only me who's angry at the media talking about so-called celebrities fleeing their luxury houses? What about the local residents who live here 365 or our heroes fighting fires 24/7? Yeah, no, it's not just you, Deagle, on that. Capricorn Chris, on a serious note, I'm worried about deaths in the UK due to accidents at the beaches, also children swimming in lakes and quarries. If the reports are to be believed, this will be heat that most are not used to. So yeah, we got to prepare to stay alert and stay safe, look out for each other. As you said, -40 is -40, whether you're in the centigrade or the Fahrenheit there. That's useful. In the winter, we try to keep our houses warm like the summer. when we complained it was too hot. Yes, of course, that is us, fickle human beings, isn't it? Oh, it's too hot, it's too cold. Cambada is, as Antonio F said, the same as guys. Hi, guys, but is used as such mostly in the Porto region. In the south, however, it may be used to say a bunch with a not so friendly meaning. Thank you for all your coaching in the Portuguese this morning. The Portuguese era, perhaps, post-Trump, apologies to the abbreviation of Portugal. Not sure what that means there. Hence the reason why Antonio F warned you to use it carefully. So there you go. Thank you very much for that. Carl, you've got physical and mental health written twice. Is it a place in your head? It probably is. What have I done here? Is that on the notes inside the on the show notes there? Here we go. Here comes a. That didn't work, did it? She's trying to play with the greens. She's trying to play with the green skin again, and the turquoise has come out as blue.
Hello.
that didn't work. But thank you very much for the cup of tea. Brilliant. Bon fin semana then. The bon fin semanas are coming in as we make our way towards the weekend. Has Phil put his phone in the fridge? I think he might have done there. My first. I think there's a hand coming in. Very good. All right, thank you. My first. There's still a little bit of sleep. We've got to work on this. Yeah. Sorry, everybody. When I said it was Uncle Fester recently, it's actually the thing, isn't it? Is it the Addams Family or the Munsters, though? I can't remember.
The Addams Family.
The Addams Family. Okay. Thank you. My first. If I have green tea, maybe that will help. To Coach Turner there from Mrs. My first trip to Europe, I flew into Heathrow, took a ferry to Hamburg, train to Dijon and Paris, and flew home. A 5-week trip suggested by one of my German friends. That sounds lovely, Nubianette. And good morning from Abel Pinheiro from rainy Portugal this morning. Great to hear from you. And Pamela Smith, who's a bit late today. No problem. Nice, easy, laid-back, feel-good Friday show today. We've got those pictures from Deborah and Wells Cathedral. I love the theme of those. We'll have a look at those in just a moment. Joazinho, aha, that's a good one. Loved it. Thank you. Just as you made me feel young. I am 100% Portuguese. No foreign relatives whatsoever. Sorry to disappoint you there from Joazinho. Funny, Portuguese say bom dia para si. Brazilians say bom dia para si. Yes, two different grammatical terms, but sounding similar. Okay, let's have a look at those lovely pictures. Oh, Pam quickly has a standing desk too. It has a load of old hydraulics, a hydraulic mechanism, but you can get electric ones too. I'm going to have to look into this. Thank you. I'm just going to make a note of there because right at that point, because I think we have a load more comments to come in and only around 2 minutes to go. I might have to say goodbye to you, Ian, whilst I work through the comments here. But look, over in Wells Cathedral, everybody, Deborah Davies has been installing her artwork. Which is hanging from the hallowed and beautiful vaulted ceilings of Wells Cathedral. Look at this, and you'll understand when I give you the backstory what is going on here. There's the long shot, Wells Cathedral. Isn't that fantastic?
Beautiful.
She's been hanging that up in the cathedral there. This one with the UV light on, I think, is very interesting. But look, this is what is the backstory is on this particular art installation. If I can find it in my bulging mail sack here. Okay, here it is. Looks different from every angle, she says. And Hostile is the name of the artwork. It's an artwork made from plastic pigeon spikes. Did you notice that? If we do a bit of a close-up, you will see that plastic pigeon spikes. And research for this work started with looking at an urban design strategy where behavior is purposefully restricted through design. This is what human beings do to each other and to nature, generally referred to as hostile architecture. You know the sort of things, armrests on benches so you can't stretch out and lie down, skate stoppers, metal clips attached to concrete walls to stop skateboarders. These are just two examples. The messaging being you, not here. It is actually a form of social control through engineering, and pigeon spikes are just one tool in the arsenal used within the discipline, and I'm rather obsessed with them. So Hostile is about ownership of spaces, both public and private, boundaries, and the invasions of lands and spaces, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, though boundaries are keeping things out. So it could read as self-preservation. Isn't that amazing what she's done there? That's in Wells Cathedral in the UK. And just one more look at the UV-bathed one there. I think that's extraordinary. And I love the backstory behind that. While we're in the picture deck, from one extreme to another here, I'm talking about architectural or hostility. Look at this. This is what Gary has sent us in this morning. And the burnt areas that you can see. in Portugal. Thank you for that, Garvo, this morning, keeping an eye on things. We also published Garvo's video from up on the Serra de Alvazra recently. You can see that on our YouTube channel too. 7 days later, he says, we still have 7 days later, and we still have 2 main fires active. Above shows the damage over the last week as well. So 2 active fires still in that area. Stay safe. Can't say it enough. Be careful. Don't get a false sense of security. It's not over yet, folks, here in Portugal. Back to your comments then. Unless you have to go, Ian. You've already got a coffee to walk to, haven't you?
I do, exactly. I'm exactly going to do that when I come off the show.
Well, it's been so good of you to be here. Really appreciate you. And we hope that Italy can become stable again after your recent visit and coincidence.
Yeah, I'm not planning to go back. Portugal's my next trip.
No! Okay, all right. Play nicely when you're over here. It's so good to have you and Phil on the screen. Bon fin semana, my friend, and love to you both there. And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, ciao, ciao.
Lovely walk. Have a lovely walk. So it's easy does it. There he goes, Coach Turner, whose tips we enjoy throughout the week. There he is in the flesh and off, taking his own medicine, a gentle stroll to the coffee shop. It's probably 27 miles away, but anyway. It's rainy in Belcher too, says Jill Davis. There, Davis Jill. I'm going to stick around and read you these as I sip this tea lovingly made by Mrs. M. Where did we get to, though? Pam and her hydraulic desk. It's been a diverse show this morning, isn't it? Yes, I agree on the steps. Try 6,000 to 7,000, but often do much more. I think it all boils down to just do something each day. It does boil down to that. Well done. I always remember sitting is better for fitness than lying down. Standing is better than sitting. Walking is better than sitting. And running is better than walking. Nice little things to remember there. Thank you very much, Banana Slug. See you on Monday. If you're waking up feeling down, yes, Phil, a blues song coming on there if you're waking up feeling down. Jani is here. And how are you? Where are you? Are you in Portugal or in Belgium this morning? Bon dia todos. I'm doing my rehab exercises for my shoulder while I'm watching the show. Very good. Trip to Portugal postponed to August. So not here yet. Maybe we'll meet up. Maybe you'll come along to the Silver Coast meetup, Johnny, and get a little bit of cool air. It's a little bit of a contrast from central Portugal, as people did this week. From Joao F to Pete, I totally agree with you. Don't be misled by my clumsy words. I was just trying to joke about Nom de Plume's question over my origin there, Joaozinho. A fabulous show. I'm a retired psych caseworker. Much more depression post-COVID for people. AGL, we maybe need to talk to you on the show at some point. And thank you for your kind words there. Laura P also in. Hi to your lovely wife. I will deliver that personally after the show. Thank you, Laura. And we're thinking of doing another show together, which we might launch in the autumn. Thank you so much. I feel flattered, but those who know me personally are aware of my shortcomings regarding vocabulary and idiomatic expressions as well as pronunciation. Get out of here, João. If we could speak Portuguese as well as you speak English, we would be so delighted, believe me. I'm at least aware of that. You are very hard on yourself, I've noticed. And we'll talk to Phil about that next time. Being hard on ourselves, sometimes a little bit too over the top. Love yourself, João F, I'm sure, is what Phil would say to you this morning. You're a bit tough on yourself there, mate. I can only dream of my Portuguese approaching your area. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Pete, for reiterating that. Lots of work to do for Pete. Thank you for your truly valued contributions. Yes, here, from me as well there. I think we've made our way to the bottom of your comments. Which literally to the bottom of the comments, not as in, the darkest recesses of the comments. They've all been very light and airy, the tone of the comments, of course, notwithstanding the concern, the ongoing concern we have. So let me see. Actually, I've got to have a quick look at the news headlines. If you were here from the start, you'll know that I woke up at 8:15 this morning and had to get myself together to be here on the show this morning. I'm not sure that's ever happened before, but I can tell you the report on this, the 15th of July, is that early morning fire update from the Portugal resident tells us that there are 13 active fires. Let me just give you a little bit more of this. I just want to leave you on that note of being alert, being prepared, staying safe. It's definitely not over yet. More than 1,000 firefighters are battling 13 active wildfires early this morning in the districts of Leiria, Viana do Castelo, and Porto. According to data available on the ANEPC, that was the one I showed you earlier on, ProCiv. The fire began a week ago. That began a week ago in Valdepia, in Abiul Pombal area district, is the one requiring most manpower and appliances right now. There are 434 firefighters on that with 102 appliances. That's an inappropriate jingle for firefighting, but I needed to cough and mute up for a moment. The second most pressing blaze is one that began shortly before midnight on Tuesday in Cidadel, the parish of Lindoso, Ponte Barça, Viana do Castelo district, third being the incident in Tejera, Baio in the Porto district. The rest of the 35 fires still on authorities' lists are either in phases of resolution or conclusion. So 13 active, but still 35 that have recently been put out or are under control, meaning they are technically out but could reignite. So we have that going on depending on atmospheric conditions and control. And we do have the temperatures that are conducive to that, so we must remain vigilant. 5 districts remain under red warning for high temperatures today. See breaking news box, and that's on the Portugal resident there. 5 others are on orange in Coimbra, Viseu, Santarém, Évora and Beja, while the rest of the country has dropped to yellow, meaning temperatures are gradually reducing. Well, that's good to hear, isn't it, as a final note on the Portugal residents reporting there. Another source of information for you, of course, Portugal resident and the Portugal news. We talked to Dougie yesterday, didn't we? Correspondent of the Portugal. No, that was on Wednesday, wasn't it? My goodness, this week has flown by. Ciao, ciao. Stay safe, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. I'm back to work Monday night, 5 nights over 7, enjoying my wee break up in the North Antrim coast with family. Thank you for the pictures, Deagle. He's still learning his Portuguese diligently. He's still sending us pictures. Thank you so much, Deagle, for all you do for the show. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions. Really appreciate it. Laura P, is planning, hopefully next June, to do the Camino de Santiago, starting from Roncesvalles. If I make up a group, we will send the bags to the very next stop, so not to carry too much weight on the back. Yes, that's one way of doing it, isn't it? And when I was a middle school teacher, says Banana Slug James, I would occasionally have dreams of being late to my first class of the day. It was near panic-inducing. Yeah, there's a lot resting on a teacher's arrival, isn't there? And Laura P says it will be more or less 30 days walk on the Camino there. And here, both, are you doing both Spain and Portugal? Look at that here. The humidity is giving my last little bits of hair a nice curl. From Pete, who likes a comb over. As well, you know, pronunciation is so much harder than writing. When we meet, I hope to be much improved, says Pete to Joao. That's natural, says Antonio F. I've been told that I speak English with an American accent, even though I've never been there. That'll be from the culture, won't it? That'll be Hollywood's influence. Depends on the version of the language you've been more exposed to. Yeah, American culture, of course. Thanks, everybody. We've got a couple more. Let me just check before in these last moments of the Friday Feel Good show. Thanks to Ian. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to everybody this morning. And we have had other pictures sent in. I think mainly we've got some lovely shots from Victoria in Portimao. So let me just share that on the screen with you. This is a lovely moon. There you go. I think that was a couple of days ago. That would be Portimao. And a lovely full moon. Anyone feeling full moony? So many things coming together at the moment to have us feeling a little unsettled, possibly. And we have a sun-setting video. Okay, so we will end the show with just under a minute of footage from Albufeira yesterday. So you'll hear me downloading that now as you enjoy that moon there. My voice is actually giving out now. A good time to conclude the show at 9 minutes past 10. I just need to download this video because this is what I want to share with you before we go whistling into the weekend. Hold on a minute. We're not ready for you yet, Victoria, but Albufeira and the sun setting there. Another quick cough. I've got to go. But not until we have shared this video with you. And thanks, bon fin semana to you all. Thank you for another great week. We'll see you on Monday with Gilda and with James. And hopefully I'll be able to upload this video. Now, here we go. Just finding that for you now. I can't wait for this tea. There we go. The video is uploading. Must get up earlier. I think it helps to be gargling with honey and lemon and doing my yoga sutras from 7:30 in the morning and walking the dogs, which I'll do now. Sorry, Jimmy and Peggy. I'll be with you in just a moment. Here's the video. Take care. Bye for now. Bon fim semana. Have a great sexta-feira, the only day with sex in it in Portugal. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.